Hello, Knockouts. Tonya TKO here, and today we're going to be talking about Ready to Love Season 1, Episode 5. And I'm going to be giving you my take on this episode, but first, I just want to give you all a few moments to just bask in the glow of this melanin magic. Oh my goodness. Look at this. I'm using, here in New York, I'm using a large filament, a yellow light bulb, and I like that. In New York, I'm getting my coast mixed up. In California, I use what do you call that? A halogen. So I think that's what it's called. The halogen ones, the lower watt ones, but nonetheless, and it's a white bulb. So I really like this. And on my wall this week, somebody came out talking about Tonya, you're bleaching. And I'm like, really? So imagine that, a self-love specialist using harmful cancer-causing agents on their skin to become lighter. People act like black people shades don't go up and down according to the winter or the summer, but I just responded, you know what? Listen, them a bleach, say them a bleach out them skin, them a bleach. If you look like a browning girl, me honor you, cause you not bleach out your skin. You know you not chemical if you look like a... Okay. You know what? Welcome home, Buju. Welcome. You know what? I listen. Lot of mercy. I'm stalling because this episode is just like wow. I feel like I feel like I'm in this relationship with these people. You know, the scenes are so intimately set up and you get to know so much about the characters that I feel like I feel like I'm in this, and I don't want to be. I really I don't want to be in this with them. Like, these men are just, I see now why men like women on average 7 years younger than them, because like, these men, they are, oh God. Okay. We're gonna go forward. We're gonna go forward. I really don't know what to say, so you know what? Let me just give my intro. Sometimes giving my intro helps me think of what to say. I'm Tonya TKO, self-love specialist and relationship expert from TonyaTKO.com. I help you learn to love yourself and each other. And if we were to talk about self-love in this episode, I don't really see, like, the whole setup of this show. Like, my biggest takeaway, I would say, is like, now is when you see that the train is about to derail, and the train wreck is about to happen. I see where this is going, and it's going into some foolishness. I don't want to say that the men are low vibrating, but the men just really just aren't mature. This show is supposed to be about people who are ready to love, but I just see a bunch of people with an inability to communicate. And if you know one thing I wanted to make sure that I said during this video, as I want you to look at people's communication styles, because it's very often like this in real life. Like, the people who speak very directly interpret nuance, but the people who speak in nuance need to be spoken to very directly. It's this phenomenon that even I want to know, because, like, a person like Shante is very direct when she speaks, very, very direct. However, when Alex was telling her goodbye, he was like yammering and this, that, and the other, and she picked up on it, and she's like, you know what, I'm just going to take myself out of it, because it's like, these men don't have the courage to tell women that they're just not feeling them. You know what, let's go. I took some notes, so let me go down the lists of my notes. Okay, so Stormy was sick in the beginning of the episode, and Aaron visited her, and then he was telling her that she's at the nut. You're at the number. It's like, this man doesn't move his, I don't know what's going on inside of his mouth, in his mush mouth, but it's like, he just doesn't, he doesn't enunciate. It just drives me crazy. So he's like, oh, he's over there talking crap about Melinda to Stormy, and she's just giggling. And I'm like, why is nobody on this show paying attention? It's like, nobody. Okay, let me just go forward. So he's talking crap about Melinda. Let's see. Oh, and Shante. You know what? Some of you were writing that I don't know how old it is. She said she was on the show, but some of you are saying that she is every day of 50. And at one point she was like, when you get to my age, you don't have time to play games. And it's like you can tell the difference. Like in this show, you can see like the evolution of woman in this show for like different personality types. Because then you have what's the girl's name? Ashley, the same one who was there crying about her ex. Right, you have Ashley, who's 31. I believe she may be the youngest on the show. And she's like all full of all of this energy. And then you see how it goes along the lines up until you get to become a person like Shante, who's just like, listen, boom, 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 boom. I don't have time for this. This is how it is. This is. And this was the episode where she snapped on Aaron inside of the cupcake shop. And I'm like, it's no wonder she snapped on him because he behaves like a child. It's like, one of the things that I was thinking, right? Because there was this guy that I was thinking about. I was pontificating about him and why I just never really felt gelled and connected to him. And it was because I really didn't respect him, right? And when a woman doesn't respect a man, you get stuff like that. Like notice she didn't snap on anybody else, but she snapped on him because he's the weakest of the bunch. Because it's like he's the one who has the least connection with who it is that he is as a human being. So he flutters around in this childish state of like he even sat down. This was the episode where he sat down with Uncle Tommy. I'm sorry, nephew Tommy. He sat down with Uncle Tommy. He sat down with Uncle Tommy to get schooled by him. And Uncle Tom was like, listen, you've got to know who it is that you are and express and be honest. And Aaron is like, I just wanted them I just wanted them women here to just feel at least like she had a chance. Okay, sorry, I'm not gonna be like that. I'm not gonna be like that. I'm sorry. Okay. He was he was like I'm sorry. He was like, I at least want every woman here to feel like she has a chance, to feel special so that she could know that she could get the attention of a I'm like, why do you feel as if you are the attention soup kitchen that you have to be just handing out attention to everybody like you giving out charity? I just was like, ew. So that's probably what he was doing with Melinda. He's over there considering it charity. He's like, let me make this older woman who's so desperate for me feel special. And he just told her the stuff that she wanted to hear. So here we go. Let's jump into Alex and Tiffany. So this is the episode where Alex is like basically talking about, oh, how he has so much to juggle that he doesn't that Tiffany is now. And I read some comments online about this particular episode where people were like, "Oh, Tiffany was just acting. She was acting too much. She was doing too much." And you know what? This is the thing. Listen. When you get to a certain stage in life, listen, I'll put it this way, right? Once you get past a certain age, everybody has relationships behind them. Not all of those relationships were good. And so you can tell from Tiffany's behavior that apparently she's been inside some sort of relationships where she's been let down by a man that she could not respect because his word was not his bond. So this is where we have the evolution of woman. So we have Ashley who's like, I'm fun. I look, I put on my get 'em girl jeans. Look at me spin around for you. And she's over there and all of this stuff inside of the date. And she's talking to him, and the questions or the stuff that she's talking about is, I sure do like looking at you. And he's like, well, I like looking at you too. And so, see, this is part of the problem of what happens when we let men choose. So on the one hand, so a man is going to choose the path of least resistance. He's going to choose whoever's easiest and funnest, right? However, that girl is going to evolve into a woman who is also going to have standards and criteria as well. So my take on what it is that's going on with Tiffany is she is expressing some hurts that have happened to her in her behavior. And all Alex has to do is just have a conversation with her. Look, I don't like this behavior, or I'm going out tonight with one of the other girls. He's telling her he's going to call her back. And what she's doing basically is she's like coming forward, holding him accountable for his word. So it's like she's not just coming out of nowhere. And it's like he's not able to put two and two together. That part of the reason that she's like, if he would have just said, look, I'll talk to you tomorrow, that would have been a different story. But so now he's gravitating more towards the look at my get 'em girl jeans. So he's gravitating more towards that because it's easy, it's young, it's fun. He's not being held accountable for his word. His word doesn't have to be his bond. She's not talking about deep subjects. She's just on the surface. And so this is the type of stuff that happens because then you see what will happen is, right? And this is the thing that's so perplexing to me because we're talking about people who are in their 30s and 40s. So it's like, remember when you were a teenager, when I was a teenager, when I was 13, this was my criteria for whether or not I would like a guy. Um, he needed to have a bubble goose. He needed to have a bubble goose. And I had this thing. I kind of like guys who wore cream white sweaters. That was my only criteria. I was 13. Nice smile may have helped too. But that's what I liked. I was like, I like the boys with the bubble gooses. I'm from New York. What can I say, right? And as I got older, I was like, okay, well, I didn't start dating until I was 18, but along the way, so I had liked people, but I wasn't officially able to date until I was 18. But once I got with a person with a bubble goose and a nice smile, or I had a thing with a guy who had a nice cream white sweater, then I realized, oh, okay, I need a little bit more than that. So maybe this, that, and the other. And so as we date, it's kind of like the ebb and the flow. And then so we get to the point where we're older and we're like, well, you know what? I need these sorts of things to be in place. Like if you listen to Shay, how Shay was like, I need to see what you're like when you're upset, when you're frustrated, when you don't want to be bothered. I need to see what you're like when oh my I'm gonna run out of space on my phone. So listen, so let me hurry up and do this. One of the things that was really surprising to me is that Michael and his deal breakers. The girls, it's like, remember when I was talking about listening? And communication style and subtle, it's like people who communicate forthrightly, for some reason it's like he's not picking up on the fact that Shay doesn't want to have children. And it's like you can see in her face and her body language she doesn't want to have children. He says that that's a deal breaker, but because she has that creamy skin that reminds him of an Indian, he was like, oh, you got Indian in you. She looked like chili. She got a chili smooth skin, and he doesn't want to eliminate her. But if you say that that's your deal breaker, so it's like I'm curious as to where we're headed now because I feel like we're headed towards foolishness. Shante, you know what? I saw that episode with Aaron and Shante twice. The first time that I saw it, I was like, this girl is crazy. It's like, why is she barking on this man there? But then the second time that I saw it, I realized that she was doing it because, one, he doesn't demand respect because he doesn't act respectful. He doesn't act respectable. And then two, I was thinking to myself, how could Aaron have gotten out of that situation? He could have precipitated that by first being a strong, respectable man. But once the situation happens, how does a man deal with a woman who is barking on him in a way, because he can't get into an argument with her? It's not feasible to turn into a physical confrontation. So how do you do it? I want to hear your thoughts below. One of the things, see, it's tricky because if he puff out and he's like, and if he goes to shut it down, but you know what? That's what some women need. Some women need to test a guy and him be like, kill that noise. And then I don't know if he could have just pulled her to the side, but if he would have pulled her to the side, she may have gotten real aggy with him. I don't know. In your opinion, what do you think is the best way for a man to shut down an argument? He just kind of just walked out, and I was just, and then as he was walking out, he was talking junk as he was leaving, and I was like, yeah, that's why nobody respects you right there. And did you guys peep that Alex invited the two ladies there, Shante and Ashley. And he was over there talking about how fine Ashley is and giving her all of these compliments. And that's when Shante turned on Aaron. She was like, if you could see her face, she's like embarrassed. And then so she just turns the attention on Aaron and she just like starts barking on him. And I was like, girl. And so one of those things is she just doesn't give a what, because every women, it's built into our DNA that when we're trying to get a man's attention, that when we're trying to get a man to like us, that we're just so ooh, and that's part of what creates bad decision making for men, because every woman is going to put her best foot forward